All right, let's talk quarterfinals. I'm going to bring up the workouts here, and then we can look at my screen. Nice. Okay. Workout 1. This is definitely going to be the sprintiest, probably overall the easiest one, I would say. It's cardio, it's going to hurt, but you're going to be fine 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes after this is done. So this could either go first or last, or even just first in a day, a multiple day. You can do any of the other ones after doing this, but you could also do this when you're completely beat up and ruined potentially by the other ones. So let's table that for a second. Workout 2. This is going to be probably the hardest one. For those people that are really good at gymnastics and, maybe you haven't done a whole lot of deadlifting, okay, maybe that one will be, the deadlift one will be the toughest. But I think in general, this one is going to probably beat people up the most, and it'll be the toughest to recover from. So this one should probably go either last, or if you are starting on Thursday and potentially ending on Monday, you could have this one early on with rest after. So maybe as early as tomorrow, Thursday, maybe you do this one, then you rest for a day. That could be the play. Especially if muscle ups are very, very tough for you. This is going to be, make or break. You don't necessarily want to be doing this even the day after doing a bunch of heavy deadlifts, right? Or a bunch of moderate effort deadlifts. Because if your grip's not there, you just might not get this done at all, right? So this one, either very early on with some rest after it, or if you're okay with muscle ups, you think you can get them under, some recovery fatigue demand, last. So that after this one, you can just be done. And your grip is going to be gone, maybe the hands ripped, the grip's going to be toast, the quad's probably going to be hit pretty good. Don't want to be doing a ton after this one, right? Like day of or next day. And then we got number 3, double unders deadlifts. This is going to be like basically just a shoulder workout. Double unders and high rep deads right after. It's going to be just shoulders and grip. So needless to say, this one and the muscle up one cannot be on the same day. If you're doing multiples in a day, they just can't be in the same day. The grip requirement, the posterior shoulder, the pulling, right? They have to be on different days. And then number 4, where's number 4? There we go. This one, very interesting. 1K row, Grace, 1K row, 30 strict handstand push-ups. Coach Mike at our gym has rightly put this one first for anyone that's doing just Saturday, Sunday. And I think that's the right call because of the 30 strict handstand push-ups. There's a lot of other things that are very demanding on the shoulders. And when strict handstand push-ups go, they're gone. So if you're coming into this one with shoulder fatigue, those 30 at the end are going to be damn near impossible with, what's the time? 20 minutes. Well, maybe not impossible, but very tough, a lot slower than they would be otherwise. So let's look at these now as kind of like a whole. And we'll say, if you're doing them all in a short period of time, Coach Mike absolutely has come up with the appropriate scheme, I would say, which is Saturday, first one, workout 4. Get the handstand push-ups done. Saturday, workout 2, double unders and deadlifts. You want to do that one second because the grip's going to be fatigued, the shoulder's going to be fatigued, right? Got to get the handstand push-ups over with. And we want to do those first because this 30 strict handstand push-ups, and we know we don't want to do the muscle up one the day of another workout, before another workout, or even the day before something like the deadlift workout, which is really grippy, right? So Saturday starts with workout 4 and ends with workout 3. Sunday starts with workout 1, cardio, you can recover pretty quick from this, and then ends with the killer workout 2 on Sunday. That, I think, is absolutely the way to go if you're doing 2 in a day and compressed into the weekend, which probably a lot of people are. Now, if you have more time to get them done and you can spread them out, or if you have kind of very particular skill set where you have some pretty big differences between your strengths and your weaknesses, you're going to have to game this a little bit more probably and have the order be more appropriate to your specific needs. So let's give a couple of examples for that. And we'll kind of just go through maybe like 2 or 3 general scenarios. So let's say scenario 1 is somebody that's very good at gymnastics and is not feeling great about their strength or maybe their cardio or both. So that's case number 1, gymnastics specialist. Number 2, we're going to come up with the opposite. We're going to say is really struggling with their gymnastics, but is feeling very confident about all the other things pretty much. That's person number 2. And then person number 3, we could probably come up with some, little bit more specific, scenario where maybe they're, very confident in their either pressing or pulling, but not the other one, something like that, right? So maybe the muscle ups and the deadlifts will be totally fine, but the strict handstand push-ups and the clean and jerks are going to be really, really tough or something like that. So let's go through the first 2 and then we can maybe game the third one a little bit. So I'm going to share the screen again. Let's do there. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So person number 1, what did we say? Very confident with gymnastics, not so confident with strength and cardio. I think that's what we said for number 1, isn't it? So that person can absolutely justify putting the deadlifts and even potentially the cardio, the workout 1, ahead of the handstand push-up workout. If you can do handstand push-ups all day, but your 2K row is, 8 minutes or something like that, you might want to save some energy to put into the rower. You might want to save some energy to put into the overhead squats and the shuttle runs. Sorry, the burpee, the row and the handstand push-ups are the same one. I think you guys get the gist of that. It's, if you're really, really good at something, you can do it with more fatigue, right? You don't have to worry about necessarily like missing reps or taking crazy long rests because you're a little bit tired from the other workouts, right? So this gymnastic specialist, they can put workout number 2 and workout number 4 later on, potentially in the same day. I would still probably do workout 4 first in that day and finish with the bar muscle ups just because of the grip is, pretty demanding there. And if your grip is completely blown from those muscle ups, like the row is going to be worse. The clean and jerks are going to be really nasty. So, but a gymnastics specialist could put those 2 on the same day, or put them just both towards the end of the weekend. And then depending on where they're better, right, cardio or strength, they would then choose where workout 1 and 3 go. So if you're feeling really good about your strength, but not the cardio, then, you would probably try to end a multi-session day with the cardio so you have time to recover. Start with the strength, you're not going to be beat up as much by that. Or have, the cardio maybe before your rest day, and then do your strength with less time to recover after. If strength is really, really good, right? If your deadlifts, if you can pull 550 for a single, the 10 at, the 10 at 225 is nothing, right? That could be with one hand. And the 10s at 275, easy, 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 right? The 10 at 315, yeah, you'll probably feel a little bit, but if you pull, if you're pulling 500 plus pounds, 315 is not even going to be really a challenge. It's going to be a double under workout, basically. So that one you could do, before doing something else. And then the gymnastics ones, you'll want to do them later and spread out more for this strength, this person that's strength specialist, let's say. Or early with rest after, right? Same pattern. We're just, depending on what your specialty is, you want to put the very fatiguing stuff either later or right before a day off. So intermediate case, you would just shuffle things around, right? You would just mix those variables a little bit depending on this particular specialties. So let's say double unders are really, really tough for you, but your strength is okay, gymnastics is okay. Put the double unders early on. Put the double under workout early. Make sure you're going into that one pretty fresh. Get the double unders done so that's not, tripping every round multiple times and then your score is just because you tripped a bunch. If the overhead squats you think will be kind of tough, maybe because of mobility or even just because of the weight, it's, it's kind of a moderate weight, let's say, for some. Then, maybe you put the overhead squat workout either early before a break or last, right? So that those overhead squats, if they're tough for you, are not going to interfere with stuff that comes later on. So same pattern, shuffle it up depending on what your strengths and weaknesses are, right? Put the things that are going to be the toughest, the hardest to recover from, either before a day off, if you have time for a day off, or put them last, either within a day or in the weekend in general. And then do what you can, do your best, right? Eat lots this weekend, sleep as much as you can. Make sure you got, maybe a little bit of extra water, especially if you're doing double sessions. Probably not going to be sweating a ton with these, but, better to have a little extra water than not enough for sure. Definitely getting extra carbs if you're doing doubles in a day. Whether that's Gatorade or, some sort of electrolyte mix with carbs, you can definitely use some quick carbs if you're doing multiple sessions in a day. So that'll be the general strategy here for quarterfinals. Now, within each workout, there's going to be some strategy, of course, lots of strategy potentially, but not in all of the workouts. There's not really a ton of strategy for the burpees and the shuttle runs, right? It's like that workout is pretty well a sprint. 60 burpees over the bar. Yeah, okay, you're not going as fast as you possibly can because you might not be able to do the overhead squats after that. But you're going at a pretty quick pace, way quicker than 26.3. It's going to be much, much shorter than that, right? So you're not pacing the burpees like you did in 26.3, unless you paced them wrong in 26.3. Then go ahead and do that super quick pace. I'll share the screen again. So strategy within each workout. Let's look at them again. Workout 1, yeah, not a ton of strategy, right? not sprinting right off the bat, but you're going to try to, pretty quick little jog for the 10. That'll take 40 seconds, 30 seconds maybe. 20 overhead squats, you know, you got to try to do that unbroken, or, if you think you're going to blow up, do 2 sets of 10. And then the 30 burpees, a very quick paced 30 here, because you get a minute of rest, right? So you don't want to pace them and kind of, save a ton. You want to give it a good go. Then you get a little rest. Second set of burpees, try to be a little bit faster. Try to finish unbroken on the squats, and then you're sprinting towards the end. This one will probably time cap 12. It'll be a 4 or 5 minute workout for the elites. And, the rest of us will be, probably between 6 and 10, 8 and 12, let's say. Something like that. Maybe I'll be wrong. We'll see. But this one, definitely the least amount of strategy. Try to go pretty quick, a little bit of a pacing, and, try to hold unbroken really as much as you can. Maybe a quick breather after 10 for the squats. Now, workout 2, very much strategy in this one. So this one, I haven't actually really figured it out. I think even if I had figured it out for myself, it wouldn't necessarily apply to a lot of other people. So I tested it a little bit, and I did 3 rounds of 10 and then 5 is what I did. And I think I probably could hold that, but I was doing a little bit of rest. So probably will end up being something like 8 and 4 for sets. Try to minimize the rest. Keep doing quick sets, 8 and 4. If your bar muscle ups are a real challenge, you can't do big sets, you probably want to just start with a whole bunch of those, and maybe do, 5 hang squat cleans every, few reps, maybe just to break it up a little bit. So you're not just standing around. But you definitely, if bar muscle ups are the limiting factor, which they will be for a lot of people, don't want to be doing a bunch of squat cleans first and then coming to the bar and missing reps and standing around, right? So get a good chunk of those muscle ups out of the way, or lots of little sets with just a few squat cleans in between, and then finish with, as many squat cleans as you can do, die on the floor afterwards. It's all good. So that was definitely most interesting, I think, in terms of strategy, and will vary definitely a lot between individuals. Some people will be doing, a few sets of 10 muscle ups and, 10 or 20 hang squat cleans, and they'll be done pretty quick. The rest of us will be pushing that one to the end, probably 15-minute time cap. It'll be tough. Workout 3. Not a ton of strategy on this one either. I think this is pretty similar to workout 1 in terms of strategy. It's, do you break up the deadlifts? Yeah. Maybe if the deadlift is a bit of a weak point for you, you start with 5s, and, you try to hold 5s, and then maybe you're down to 2s or 3s at the end, and that's fine, right? As long as you keep doing quick sets. If your double unders are, the weak point here, you might intentionally break those up a little bit, so you're not tripping a lot, because that is very frustrating and it can get to you. So maybe if the double unders are the weak point, you actually just start with 25s, and you just try to, or 20s and 10s, and just try to minimize the tripping and the frustration. But yeah, not a ton of strategy here. A lot of folks will be, basically just trying to do pretty well unbroken and hold on as much as possible. Maybe going down to 5s by the end, or maybe 5s in the second round and 3s at the end. But a lot of people will get this done unbroken for sure. So, and then the last one, again, not a ton of strategy here. Obviously, don't blow your all your energy on the row, right? That's not the workout. You want to cruise on the row. pace it pretty slow, honestly. You've got 20 minutes to finish the workout. Even if you did a slow 1K, you've got 12 minutes to do the other stuff. So a slow row, especially if you're not sure about the handstand push-ups, you don't want to be stuck there just standing around. So, not the slowest row of your life, but, probably in that 150 to 2 minute range. Maybe a little slower if you're not super great on the rower. Clean and jerks, definitely singles. No question about it. There's no reason to cycle that bar. Even when you're doing Grace fresh, quick singles is a pretty good option unless you're an elite. Singles on the clean and jerks. Not a ton of rest. Try to, quick singles, and then you can, the second row can be even a little bit of recovery for the first little bit, but definitely singles on the clean and jerks. And then you've got your handstand push-ups, and that's, again, kind of the crux here is, can you get there with some energy? Have you built that skill over the last year or whatever? The elites will be doing, probably unbroken, some of them. Even some of the pretty high level guys here will be doing almost unbroken. But, a lot of people will be doing singles. And that's, it is what it is, right? It's a tough movement. It's heavy. It's uncomfortable. It's under fatigue. So yeah, try to reserve as much energy as you can without just wasting time before you get there. And then take your max number of strict handstand push-ups and divide that by half or more, and try to do sets of that. So if you can do, if your best is 10 unbroken, probably definitely no more than 5, because then you'll be, a couple of sets in and you'll have to start resting for a long time. So, if you can do 10, maybe you're starting with honestly like 3 or 4 and just try to hold on. It's not what you want to hear. It's not what I want to hear either. And that's probably about what I'll be doing. But, if you go out, with a set of 8 or 10, and that's, near your max, you're going to be doing singles, and it'll probably end up taking longer. And that's frustrating too, right? So I think that pretty well covers it for strategy, but certainly leave some comments here and questions if you have them, and we can chat about it some more. So with that, I will say good luck. Have fun this weekend. I'll see some of you at the gym, and see you on the leaderboard. Take care, guys.